What's up, everybody? This is Gary Owen. Get some.
You know, ladies, listen to me. If you're married to a billionaire, don't check his phone. Leave him alone. He's a billionaire, okay? You don't check a billionaire's phone, okay? Now, if you're married to a man that's $50,000 a year, check his shit, you know? Because you can find another man that makes $50,000 a year. You ain't gonna find another billionaire. Doesn't Tiger's wife know she pink? She got nowhere to go down after Tiger. Let me tell you something. If my wife's a billionaire, I'm not checking shit. She can do whatever she wants. I'm not fucking up my lifestyle because she wants a little dick on the side. She deserves that dick. She's a billionaire. You earn that dick, baby. That's your dick. You enjoy that dick. That is your dick. All right? Now, whatever you do with him ain't got shit to do with us. We good.
Hey, everybody. What's up? This is Gary Owen with the Get Some podcast. It's been brought to my attention since this is new to me that people are asking, where can they hear it? You can go to iTunes. You can search Gary Owen. You can search Get Some. You can look up United We Cast. My fault. That's dang when you don't know the own network you on. That's like me saying, who you play football for? Man. Dallas Cowboys? Yeah, them. United We Cast. It's on Google Play. It's on iTunes, or I always post the podcast on my YouTube page also, which is YouTube.com/Gary Owen Com, and then it's also on the Podcast Addict app. So enough about that. I got a lot to talk about this week. Obviously, talk about my comedy brother Kevin Hart. Also, I was in Richmond, Virginia last weekend. This week, I'm in New York. I'm at Caroline's Comedy Club, September 21st to the 24th. And, of course, I got to talk about my beloved Bengals and how the season isn't going too well. So I'm gonna just start with the elephant in the room. I'm going to start with Kevin Hart. Unless you've been living under a rock, this week he came out on Instagram and posted a heartfelt message to his wife and kids saying he messed up. And everyone was like, wonder what's going on, because a couple months ago, there was a video of him in a car with a girl in Miami. And then this was I guess it was in Vegas, a female allegedly has a sex tape of her sleeping with Kevin. And she was trying to extort him. And I'm sure just she wasn't working by herself. I'm sure she had help. And the rumor is the number was $10 million. Or they were going to lease the tape. And Kevin got ahead of it and said, you're not going to extort me for money. I've already talked about with my wife and kids, and that's it. And if you want to release it, fine, but you're not going to benefit from it. And a video got released, and it looks like Kevin, but it's not 100% sure it's him. And then I found out this morning, I was doing the Breakfast Club, the radio station here in New York. It's going to air actually on the 21st, if you want to hear that. Charlemagne said the girl actually, because I was like, how did she put the phone up? And I guess she had it in a way where the whole video was through the reflection in the mirror. So she had the phone facing the mirror and it was recording on the mirror. I said, man, that is some high-tech shit. To go to that extreme, that you're going to set your phone up in a way that probably whoever's in the room didn't see the phone. And you probably got to lean up against a purse or a dresser or a couch. And so you don't see it. And it's the whole video is the reflection in the mirror. I'm like, whoa. Mind blown. You would go to that extreme? Think about this. If you're going to go through all that trouble, let's say it's true. You have to court Kevin. You have to meet him out. You have to, we're going to go back to your room. Then you're going to have sex with them. Then you're going to record it. Then you're going to release it. You go through all that. And I'm just thinking, if you use that energy towards something legit, I mean, you'll probably make the same amount of money in the end, because she's not going to get $10 million from Kevin. It goes back to whenever I hear guys getting locked up in prison and they had a whole drug empire. I was like, man, the only difference between that guy that runs a drug empire that's in prison now and a guy running a Fortune 500 company is it's his environment that he came up in. Because some people just have a natural way to lead and people follow him and they listen to him. I mean, look at our president. Look at Trump. Look at Hitler. Look at some of the tyrants that have roamed the world, and Genghis Khan and stuff. Some people just have that ability that people follow them and they listen to them. And these guys that are drug kingpins, it's the same way. And then you got guys that run these Fortune 500 companies. I go, these Fortune 500 company, they were probably went to private school, went to a good college, just was brought up in a good environment that was able to have them flourish in that realm. But they also had something inside of them that people follow them and they listen to them and they'll take chances on them. And the drug kingpins the same way. How do you get these people to follow you and do what you say, knowing it's illegal, knowing that you might go to jail? And I don't know. Some people just have that ability to them. But back to the Kevin situation, it's just what I don't like about it is Kevin's a good guy. He's a good dude at the core. Like he's given hundreds of thousands of dollars to different charities. He just was in Houston for the hurricane relief. And somebody said he just did that because he knew this was coming out. I said, I don't think so. I think it's just because, he's just a good dude at the core. I've known the guy since 1998. And I hate the fact that when people say his name now, they're going to think this, or people are going to say he's just a bad dude because he cheated on his wife. And that's what we're really not focusing on. Two things we need to focus on. Cheating's one thing. I think worse than cheating for the wife is the embarrassment of it. That's the bigger deal. It's embarrassing. It's not the cheating part. It's the embarrassment that comes with it. And you don't want people talking behind your back or saying, why is she still with him? I hope they work it out. I hope in 20 years from now, they're laughing about it. I mean, it's hard right now, but I don't know. You got a kid on the way. It ain't like Kevin's the first guy to do this. Because I just think the more power you get, the more money you get, the easier it is for stuff like this to happen. John F. Kennedy, he got through it. Bill Clinton, he got through it. He ain't the first. He's not going to be the last, quote unquote, celeb to get caught up in something like this. But at least it was just girls. That's it. Could be worse for guys with animals, other things. This was just girl and dude. I mean, it happens. It is what it is. Kevin will be all right. I sent him a text, actually, just let him know, hey, man, this will pass. You're a good dude. I appreciate what you've done for me because he's helped my career tremendously because, I've done 3 hit movies with him. Think Like a Man 2, and Ride Along. And every time he goes out and promotes and tells you to go see a movie, that's just more people to go see the movie, more people that gets a chance to see me. I mean, I know that sounds selfish, but, I always look at it like Kevin promotes. He's promoting me as well as himself. So I hope this too shall pass. And like I said, 10, 20 years, him and his wife are just laughing about it. There's been a few cases in my career where you could say I got caught up, not to this extent, but I remember when I first started dating my wife, I moved in with her. And I was in Iowa and I had a show. And after the show, for some reason, there was like 10 people that was at my show, was at my hotel at the bar just having some drinks. So I went down there and joined them. The bar closed at midnight. I said, well, let's everybody go up to my room. I had a big suite. So everybody came up to my room and I called my wife in my room. I said, hey, babe, what's up? And we weren't even married at the time. And she was like, what are you doing? I said, I was just hanging out. I go, show was good. She goes, where are you at now? I was like, in my room. She goes, hold on. Are there girls in your room? I was like, yeah, but they're white. It's cool. Literally in my mind, I thought it was okay. Because they're white girls. I've always liked black girls. I just thought my wife knew I like black girls. So in my mind, I was like, it's like number the boys hanging out. She was like, you better get them bitches at your damn room. I was like, oops. I was like, everybody get out. Get out. I said, what? I go, get out. Out. I really thought it was okay. Like, it's like, I bet they're white. You know me, I ain't like that. I'll never forget it. And so everybody got kicked out the room. So basically, I got probably 10 people in Iowa that are still going, Gary Owen is an asshole, because I gave them no reason why I kicked them in my room. I just kicked them out. You got to get out, man. This party's over. And then I remember getting on the phone with my wife. She goes, why would you think that was okay? I go, they were white. I thought I was okay. Come to find out I wasn't. But if somebody would have took a picture or a video of me in the room, it could have been something that really wasn't anything. They could be like, we're in Gary Owen's room at 1 a.m. And I had another case where I was in Virginia Tech. I'll never forget this. I'm in Virginia Tech, and the girl that was my chaperone for the day, she was the one that picked me up from the airport, took me to and from the show. We ended up going to a college restaurant/bar after my show. We were eating, but she was having some drinks too. And I wasn't drinking, but I was looking at her like, she's at that's a third or fourth beer. And she ended up driving me home. Driving me back to my hotel. When she got back, she said, can I use the bathroom? And I was like, okay. So she used the bathroom, and I stood there with the door open the whole time. I had the door open, my hotel room. And it wasn't one of those hotels where you could just go through a hallway and go through a lobby. She pulled right up to my door. So literally I opened the door. She asked to use the restroom. And then she laid on the bed. And I said, what are you doing? She goes, I just don't feel well. I don't feel right. And I was like, oh, okay. I said, you want me to call you a cab? And I just told her, I was like, you can't stay here. I said, you can't stay here. And I just, finally, she left my room. And my fault, I let her drive. I shouldn't have. I should have called a cab or something. So that was my fault. But you're not thinking that way. You just want her out of your room. And she calls the couple days later. My agent called me. He goes, Gary, anything happened in Virginia Beach or Virginia Tech? I was like, no. And he was like, oh, because we got a call from one of the, I don't know, deans, professors. I don't know. Somebody from the university called my agent and was like, a girl said she doesn't remember taking Gary home and whatnot. And she feels odd about something might have happened with him that night. I said, it should happen with me. And I told him the whole story. And I was like, if there's cameras at the hotel, tell them to bring them back. I was like, because I never shut my door. She was never in the room alone with me. But she literally tried to say she didn't remember and she felt something odd happen. I said, get her. This is what I said. I said, get her on the phone. They said, she's not going to get on the phone with you. I said, what do you want me to do? Do I need to fly back to Blacksburg, Virginia and confront her or talk to the school? I said, because I ain't do nothing. And I told them everything that happened. So I don't know what came up about. All I know is it disappeared. It was one phone call and then it was it. So they didn't follow through. So I don't know what she thought happened or what she was trying to imply happened, but ain't nothing happened me and her. I'll tell you that. I mean, it's easy to get, and not easy, but you can get caught up in this business. And that's the good with the bad as being in the entertainment business, or whether you're an entertainer or an athlete. You just got to be careful because there are opportunists out there. There's girls out there that work really hard not to work, if that makes sense. They work really hard not to work. And you just got to be careful. If it's too good to be true, if it sounds too, it probably is. If there's just a bad chick, like, I just like you're the funniest guy. I'm like, okay. Or, God damn, you fine. You okay. You laying on a little thick there, mommy. Little thick. I've had girls say that to me before. God, you're just so sexy. Come on. Really? And this is the first, like, as far as Kevin goes, like, this is the first big comedian scandal we've had, sexual scandal, in a long time. Because we're not athletes or rappers, so to speak. Athletes and rappers, those are the ones they get the groupies. They get the legit groupies that just want to get backstage and do whatever and get on tour bus and do whatever. Comedians ain't like that, man. We get girls that want to go to Waffle House and make them laugh. And then we all go home. It's weird. Or I think a lot of times the girls, it's nothing. If you sleep with a rapper or you sleep with Michael Jordan or LeBron James or somebody like that, then girls want to brag about it. And you sleep with a comedian, you're not really bragging about it. It's like, oh, okay, great. Was he funny? Girls don't care about that. Comedians, we're in the entertainment business, but we don't have the quote unquote groupies like rappers and athletes. I've heard some stories about rappers and athletes. Oof, heard some stories. And to keep my relationships with these rappers and athletes, I'm not going to share them. But Kevin is on top right now, too. This isn't even a story 15 years ago. It's not even a story. That's the problem when these websites publish how much they think you make and how much you do make. People don't take into account, man, and this goes for athletes and entertainers. When you hear us signing, let's say, a $5 million deal or $5 million thing for a movie, you got to realize 10% goes to your manager, 10% goes to your agent, probably 5% goes to your lawyer, and then the IRS comes in. So right there, half's gone. You don't see half of it. I mean, that's why I live my life. Every time I get a check, let's say I get a check for $10,000, I'm just like, that's 5. That's not 10, that's 5. Because half of it's gone before I even do anything. That's how people get caught up with the IRS too, is in comedians' line of work. We get a check from the comedy club or the theater. There's no taxes taken out. It's on us to file the taxes. So you got to get a good accountant, good lawyer. But that's why I wonder too, if they try to extort Kevin for $10 million, it's like, can I write this off? Or you just happen to come up on $10 million? Please. Even when you go to a casino and you win. I've won on a slot machine before And once you hit $1,200, then they take taxes out of your winnings. So that 1,200 ends up being like 780 or something. So you'd be better off winning 1,100 because then nobody takes any taxes out. You're better off winning like 1,150. Once you get over 1,200, I'm like, damn it. Now I got to take money out. In the end, Kevin's a good dude. He'll come back from it. I hope his marriage works out. And I hope whoever the hoe was and whoever was with her, I hope we never hear from them again. I hope they don't get a dime from the tape. That just bothers me. Yeah, and then they put out, Kevin's just not a good dude. No, he's a good dude. It happens. It's like this. I'll relate it to this. And then I'm going to put this to bed. Then we can talk about my beloved Bengals. Ugh. I've had two dads in my life as a kid. I had my biological father, and then I had my stepdad. My stepdad could be one of the worst human beings on the face of the earth. I'm talking about mentally and physically abusive. I have to apologize. I'm in New York doing my podcast from New York this week. So if you hear any sirens in the background, I'm staying right in the middle of Manhattan, like right between Times Square and Central Park is where I'm staying. So sometimes you might hear something. But I've had two male figures in my life growing up. I had my stepdad, just mentally, physically abusive. I don't have any good memories as a child with him because he was that bad of a person. I mean, I could get into story after story of just things that he did, like irrational behavior. I'll just tell you one, and this will tell you the type of person he is. I'm 10 years old. It's Christmas morning, and I got my little brother is 2 at the time. So I had just found out the year before there was no such thing as Santa Claus. So my brother wakes me up. He's 2, and he's like, Gary, Santa Claus came. So we go in the living room, and I'm thinking, okay, my mom and stepdad were probably up wrapping gifts and up all night putting these gifts underneath the tree to surprise my other brother and sister. And I said, I'm going to let them sleep a little bit. So I told my brother, I said, look, man, we can get our stockings, but we can't open any presents yet. So don't touch the tree of the presents. So my brother's in his stocking. I'm in my stocking. He's on the floor, and we live in a trailer. But we had this little bar. So we had like 2 bar stools. So I'm sitting on one of the bar stools looking at the stuff that was in my stocking, and my stepdad wakes up and just, for no reason, just smacks me off the bar stool. Bam! I hit the ground, and he stands over me and goes, you ruined Christmas! And I'm like, what? So I run to my room. I'm crying. It's like 45 minutes later, my mom knocks on my door and goes, Gary, it's okay. You can come out. Nobody's mad. So I come out. And I'm still, I got my eyes all red. I'm bloodshot. I don't know what I did. And he goes, I did that, right? And I was like, yeah. I have no idea why he did it. Well, come to find out, years later, he was mad that he didn't get to see his son's face on Christmas morning when he saw the tree and the stockings. And I was like, hold on. He woke me up. I didn't go wake him up. So he already saw the tree and the presents. He came to my room, woke me up and said Santa Claus came. Regardless, he just slapped me for no reason off the bar stool and said I ruined Christmas. And every morning when I wake up, that's the first thing I think about. That's the first thought that comes to my head Christmas morning. It's because he put that in me. And I'm more thinking about it when I have my kids. I was like, God, I couldn't even imagine doing something like that to them, to ruin that memory of Christmas. But that's my stepdad. And I got about 100 more stories like that. But I don't think he ever cheated on my mom. I don't think he ever cheated on my mom. I think he's been faithful to her for 30 plus years. Now, my real dad, great dude, funny, good to be around. Now, my mom and dad had me in high school, so they were together, but they weren't really together. And they tried to work it out, and they finally just cut it off when I was 3 years old. Like, we give up. So he cheated on my mom numerous times. He'll tell you, my mom told me, and he just cheated. For one, he was in the military for a little bit, and he was stationed in the Philippines. So there's no doubt he was in the 70s in the Philippines. He was 18 years old. Yeah, I probably got a couple brothers and sisters in the Philippines right now that I don't know about. There's not a doubt in my mind. When Manny Pacquiao fights, I root for him, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because I have a connection with the Filipinos. I don't know. But it wouldn't be surprised me if there's a really funny half white, half Filipino guy or girl running around the streets of the Philippines right now. That's my half brother and sister. But he's a great dude. Like growing up, he wouldn't show up a lot of times, but when he did, I always had a good time with my dad. And now that I'm older, I love him to death. He's great. He's got remarried. I got 2 identical twin sisters. They're good. Everything's good. So what's worse is the faithful husband that is mentally and physically abusive to me and I'm sure other people, or the guy that cheated on my mom that's just a good dude, but he messed up. He cheated on her a couple times. I mean, numerous times. So who's the worst individual? I'll take my real dad all day. And that's how I relate it when guys get caught up cheating and everything else. I'm like, doesn't make them a bad person. It just, they messed up. It happens. What if everybody's skeletons came out of their closet? Oh my God. It'd be never ending. It's just, now we got cell phones and now we got social media. Even when Tiger Woods got caught up, I don't know, but you gonna tell me back in the 50s and 60s, those golfers was just nothing? Come on now. You know what I mean? There just wasn't social media back then. I don't know if Arnold Palmer or Jack Nicklaus, and I'm just saying those names because they're the only real golfers I know from that era, was doing anything, but you ain't tell me none of them golfers was doing anything? Come on now. I had a girl call me one time looking for her boyfriend, and she goes, Gary, you know where he's at? And I said, no. I said, but I told her, I said, look, he could be banging a chick right now in my room and I wouldn't tell you. I said, I just wouldn't. I said, you're not going to put me in that situation. You can call it guy code, call whatever you want. Dudes don't say nothing about another dude. And me and my wife, we've always said we never compare our relationship to anybody else's because everybody might be going through something. So if you look at Kevin and his wife right now, they probably already dealt with this. It's just now the public knows, but I'm sure they've already talked about it and had their, emotional moments for weeks. It's just we're finding out about it now. And I'm sure deep down, Kevin's probably relieved because he's probably like, finally, I can start healing. I can start moving on and fixing it. So, but anyways, that's enough about Kev. I did relay it into sports somewhat because I talked about golf. And that's probably one of the few times you're going to hear me talk about golf in my podcast. If you're looking for the golf podcast, this ain't the one. You might want to go to another podcast. But let me talk about week 2 of the NFL. Oh my God. The Bengals, I don't know. I always say we. When I say we, I'm talking about the Bengals. Fired their offensive coordinator, Zampese. And I've met Zampese before. He's actually been to my house. And he's a nice guy. He's a good dude, good family guy, but he called the game like he was scared, like he's nervous. And I don't think Andy trusts his left tackle. He's back there with happy feet because the Bengals let go of Andrew Whitworth and the Rams quarterback looks so comfortable back there. Jared Goff looks amazing. He's like, I got all day. It's amazing what an offensive line can do. And I'm sitting here in New York and I'm hearing Giants fans say the same thing. If you listen to New York Giants fans and Cincinnati Bengals fans right now, it's the same. You would think they're talking about the same team. They're like, we need better play from the quarterback. The offensive line's terrible. They're not calling the right plays. We're saying, do you not know AJ Green's on the team? And Giants fans are going, why aren't we going to Odell Beckham more? And when I tell you, it's the same. They're like, our defense is fine. Bengals like, our defense is fine. It's unreal. We have the same argument. But when everybody's like, well, when they fire offensive coordinator, can it get any worse? It can't get any worse. We haven't scored a touchdown and we haven't won a game. And now here we go into Green Bay, and everybody's assuming this is a loss. But let me tell you something. Bengals haven't lost to Green Bay in, I bet you, over 20 years because we played them 4 years ago in Green Bay. We played them 4 years ago in Cincinnati, and that was the game that Terrence Newman picked up that fumble and ran it back at the end of the game. We ended up winning. That was a shootout. And then 8 years ago, 2009, we went to Green Bay early in the season, just like we're coming now, and we ended up beating them in Green Bay. And that was like Aaron Rodgers' first or second year starting. So they didn't know what they had yet, but we went in there and everybody thought we was going to get blown out. We ended up winning. And then 2005, Green Bay was terrible. They came to Cincinnati. They got blown out. That was one of the down years for Favre and everybody. So at least the last 16 years we haven't lost to Green Bay. I don't know about 2001, but so I don't automatically assume this is a loss because I remember even 5 years ago, Buffalo came to Cincy and Buffalo was 2-0 and just they get annihilated the first two opponents. And I think the Bengals 1-1 and everybody assumed Buffalo was going to win and the Bengals end up beating them. So, this is the NFL. Anything can happen. I will say this, the Bengals got to get the lead early. They can't be this falling behind and trying to catch up where the offense is 3 and out and then the defense here we go again. If we can get the ball first and go down and score a touchdown first drive, I think we'll beat them. I think we'll win. But if we don't, I think it might be same old story. Now the rumor is a lot of the Bengals in the locker room want to get Colin Kaepernick into Cincy. And if you really think about it, it makes sense because that's what Mike Brown does. He brings in guys that nobody else wants and gives them almost a safe haven in Cincy because it's a small market. I don't know. I like Andy. I hope he can turn it around. But if that offensive line doesn't hold up, it's almost like we need a mobile quarterback back there to move around. Now everybody talking about A.J. McCarron and everything. I'm like, dude, A.J. McCarron isn't mobile either. Unless that line starts playing better, it don't matter who we got back there. If he can't run, it is what it is. Because right now, I think you definitely see Andy Dalton doesn't trust the line. So I think he goes back there expecting to get hit, not surprised to get hit. So he goes back there. I mean, he just gets the happy feet immediately. And then the play doesn't get to progress. And what bothered me more than anything about the Thursday night game in Houston was John Ross gets in. He takes off. You see the speed. He gets hit. But the guy on the Texans laid a perfect hit on him. It was textbook. He put his helmet right on the ball and it popped out. It was a perfect hit. And there's no excuses. I mean, it just is what it is. Sometimes we look like, oh, he had the ball loose. No, it was tight to his body. He was doing everything. It was in the right hand. He was doing everything right. The guy just made a good play. I mean, sometimes we're looking for reasons what we did wrong. Nah, the guy on the Texans just made a great hit on the ball. And they never put John Ross back in the game. I'd say you go right back to him. This is what I do. First play to John Ross. The first play against Green Bay, it has to go to John Ross unless you're going deep to A.J. Green. That's it. There should be no other. Get that boy's confidence back, man. It could open the offense wide open. So if I'm the offensive coordinator, I'm sitting right now with A.J. Green because A.J. Green after the game was like, we got to get A.J. doesn't talk smack, but he was so upset, and that's as upset as A.J. gets. He's like, we got to let our playmakers make plays, man. We got to get the balls to our playmakers, which is him. If I'm the offensive coordinator, I pull a Tyronn Lue and LeBron James. They asked Tyronn Lue, did you run up a play for that, the last play of the game for one of the games? He goes, I just asked LeBron where he wants it. And that's what I'm doing if I'm the offensive coordinator right now with A.J. Green. How many times you want us to get you the ball? Where do you want to line up? You want to be on the left side, the right side? If it's third down and long, where you want to be? I'm just going to ask him, where do you want? You're our best player. I'm going to utilize you. That's all I'm going to do. As a coach, sometimes coaches overthink things. And I don't care what they say about a head coach. You're only as good as your assistants. You just see the I want to call it the cradle of coaches that the Bengals had. Look at all the head coaches now. Mike Zimmer in Minnesota. He's a defensive guy. What is Minnesota known for? That defense. Jay Gruden. He's good with quarterbacks. What's he doing right now? Kirk Cousins in any other system is a backup if he's lucky. But Jay knows he's good for his system. And that Jay Gruden is the one that drafted Andy Dalton because it was down to Kaepernick and Dalton was available. And the ownership wanted Kaepernick. And Jay Gruden was like, no, for my system, the kind of offense I want to run, Andy Dalton's better suited to run it. And that's how the Bengals got Andy Dalton. They almost got Kaepernick. So you're only as good as your assistants in this league. And as a coach, utilize your players. If you got a star player, utilize it. It takes you back to the Cowboys when Jerry Jones cut that dude in training camp because he fell asleep in a team meeting. And a reporter asked him, well, if Emmitt Smith would have fell asleep, would you have cut him? He goes, I would have gave Emmitt Smith a pillow. I was like, that's the star player. Utilize him. Talk to him. Figure out what he wants to do. I can only tell you, I've only coached one game of basketball in my whole life. And this is what I did. My son, his team was all white guys, no black guys on my son's team. They played this team called Dayton Dunbar. And if you don't know who Dayton Dunbar is, look him up. It's where Daquan Cook went to high school. He was teammates with Norris Cole. They were teammates in high school. But Dayton Dunbar has a rich history of sending a lot of guys to D1 college ball. And it's an all-black high school. They're always good in basketball. And we had to play them in this summer league junior high tournament. And nobody was getting close to Dunbar. So the coach doesn't show up for the game. So me and one of the moms come out of the stands and we got to coach our team against Dayton Dunbar. I'm like, what are we going to do? So me and one of the moms come down and we got to coach our team. Granted, it's a summer league game. It's not like the stands are packed and ESPN's there. It's a bunch of boys going into 8th grade playing. But Dunbar's stacked. They got 15 kids. They're all good. They're all black. My team's all white. There's like 9 of us. And then my son, the mixed kid on the team. So I pulled my team. This is how we played the game. I said, listen, guys, They're a lot more athletic than us. I'm not saying that because they're black, but I am. And you saw like 3 of the boys just start dying laughing. I said, this is what we're going to do. Don't you guys come out at all on defense. I want all 5 of you in the lane surrounding the basket and just put your hands up. I said, on offense, we're going to run our offense, but on defense, that's all we're doing. And it was the funniest game because we got lucky. We hit a couple threes. We went up like 8-0. And then they realized, oh, we got to play ball. But it was funny because every time they had this little point guard, he would go between his legs. He'd go behind his back. I'd be yelling, don't go out there. The coach was so mad because we would not guard them. We were just like, you were not going to get a layup. You were not coming in the lane. And just put your hands up. That's all we did. Long story short, we lost 41-37. We only lost by 4 points. And the only reason they scored is every time we missed, they would take off. If we missed a shot, they would grab the ball and just run. But if we made a basket or coming out of a timeout or something, they couldn't do anything. We would just block the lane. That's all we did, put our hands up. I was like, you realize it only works with this team, right? So I'm 0-1 as a junior high basketball coach. That was my only game. But I still take pride in it because it was Dayton Dunbar. Every week I'm going to give you who I think my Super Bowl favorites are. And the first week, I said the Cowboys and Raiders. Nix the Cowboys. The way Denver played them, I was like, whoa, that was unbelievable. Because Cowboys are known for their offensive line. Denver just treated their offensive line like it was the Bengals line or the New York Giants line. Like they wasn't even there. And I think everybody got on Ezekiel Elliott because Dak Prescott threw 2 interceptions and Ezekiel literally just stopped. Like he gave no effort to tackle the guy getting an interception. And my thing, if I'm the coach, I pull Ezekiel aside. I go, look, man, fake it. Fake it. I don't want you tackling the guy, but you got to jog or just act like you're going to tackle him because I go back to the Bengals a couple years ago. Andy Dalton throws a pick. He goes in for the tackle and he breaks his thumb. And pretty much our season was lost after that. And we had a great shot at making some noise in the playoffs that year. So if I'm Ezekiel Elliott, I'm like, you can't, if I'm Jason Garrett, like, you can't just stop. You got to act like you want to tackle him to save face, but you really don't. And then there wouldn't be no discussion. But after seeing last week, it's no longer the Cowboys. I still say the Raiders. The Raiders still look good. Granted, they were playing the Jets really bad, but they look good. Right now, week 2, I say Falcons and Raiders. Because the Falcons, I thought they were going to have a fall off because that seems to be the norm for that division. The Panthers, they take off. Then they fell off last year. And the Buccaneers have been down for a while. And the Buccaneers look tough too. So right now, I would say Falcons, Raiders are my 2 top teams after week 2. But I tell you what, man, that AFC West, Denver, Kansas City, the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers, to me, they're the best 0-2 team out there. They lost 2 games in the last second. And the Raiders, man, that AFC West, they're gonna have somebody's gonna go 12-4 and get the wild card out of that division. That's the sad part. And like the Chargers might end up 6-10, but I bet you they're better than most 10-6 teams. Like they got some players in I want to say San Diego, LA, the LA Chargers. But the Raiders, woo. And then Marshawn Lynch, the dance.
Cause I'm really from Oakland now. 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 East Oakland, West Oakland, North Oakland. But like Mary got the bitches out.
I liked it. I like him. I like Marshawn, man. I like Marshawn a lot. He's one of my favorite players. Because I think between him and Tracy Morgan are 2 people that they always say people have like 10 different personalities, depending on who you're around. Like if you're with your homeboys at a bar, you're not going to be acting the same as Barack at the White House. You're going to act different. Tracy and Marshawn, nah. They're going to act the same no matter who they with. If they with the Pope or they're with a drug dealer, they don't care. They're going to act exactly the same. So I say the Raiders and Falcons after week 2. I'm sticking with the Raiders, but I'm changing the Cowboys to the Falcons. Now let's go on to boxing. Most of you probably saw the Triple G Canelo fight. I thought Triple G clearly won. I had a scorecard. I don't know what it was, but I would probably say 8 rounds to 4, 7 rounds to 5. there's a couple close rounds, but he clearly won about 6 rounds in the middle of the fight. Clearly. And when that score came out, 118-110 by Adelaide Byrd, she has a history of some sketchy scorecards. And I thought it was karma and it was justice because De La Hoya, I think he wanted a piece of that Floyd McGregor fight. And when he wasn't involved, he tried to completely just act like it was fake, it was phony. And he kept saying, this is everything that's bad about boxing and mixed martial arts. It's a show. This isn't a real fight. And it ended up being an entertaining fight because people watch. Listen, the only reason people watch Mayweather McGregor, 1, they promoted it great. 2, we wanted to see the unknown. And the unknown is, could McGregor fight? Could he connect on Floyd's chin, which nobody has? And it ended up being McGregor made a good show of himself. It wasn't a terrible fight. It was entertaining. Now, the Canelo Triple G fight, you saw another level of boxing. You literally saw the 2 best fighters right now in their prime, just going toe-to-toe. And the defense and chin, they both got chins that I didn't know. They both got caught a couple times that I thought, I'm down. That's it. And they just walked right through it. But, and the punches, if you know boxing, like I'm not a boxing expert, but I know the sport. The punches are just so crisp and forward. There's no looping. There wasn't like some fatigue punches being thrown. They just got 2 pros that came in shape in their prime, and there's going to be a part 2. But the fact that De La Hoya just kept saying McGregor and Mayweather isn't real, it's everything that's bad. And then his fight, nobody's talking about the fight. They're all talking about the scores. Because I don't care what anybody says. There's some money got put in that lady's pocket, Adelaide Byrd. I'm not saying it came from De La Hoya, but somebody put some money in her pocket. You can't watch that fight and say 118-110. Either way, I'm like, that was so corrupt. It's almost like you have to give every judge a bodyguard, give them a security guard, or don't have them judge the fight. Have them in I don't know if they could judge the fight on closed circuit TV or not. But we're at the point where we have to know what the scoring is per round. We can't have this. We don't know where the judges are at until the end of the fight, and then everybody's in an uproar. Because if you see some of the rounds and some judge has a 10-9, you gotta be like, "Yo, what the hell are you looking at?" That I love the fact that it was, now De La Hoya had to answer questions. You just said everything wrong with boxing was Mayweather McGregor. No, there was no doubt. Mayweather knocked him out. We know he won the fight. This is what's wrong with boxing. Is these judges. I don't know. I remember watching my friends. I go, there's no way. When I heard 110, that was the first scorecard they got read out. When they said 118-110 Canelo, I said, oh, snap. That's it. And then the draw, I guess, this is what I want to know, and I don't. I guess if that was a option in Vegas to bet, a draw. Because when you bet on fights in Vegas, there's so many different ways to bet. You can be like, a knockout in the first 4 rounds, a decision, a knockout in round 8 through 12. There's so many different ways you can bet on the fight. I wonder if a draw was one of the options. Because if a draw was one of the options, Vegas is the one that cleaned up on this fight more than anybody. Because if that was, if it's Canelo win, if it's Triple G win, or if it's a draw, Vegas cleaned up. I don't know where the next fight, obviously probably going to hold it in Vegas again, but I hope that lady gets banned and disbarred. There's no way you saw that fight and you saw it 118-110. There's just no way. Triple G was given to him for a couple rounds. Just given. Because Canelo clearly got tired, and then he got a second win towards round 10, 11, and 12. He got a second win. But round 6 through 9, he was just, it looked like he was hanging on a little bit. I don't know. But I thought it was just karma coming back to De La Hoya because of that fight. So that's it. We got the fight. Got the Bengals. Week 3. Hopefully I'll come back next week and the Bengals will be 1-2. Would I put money on it? No, I would not bet on it. Anyways, hopefully next week I'll be in a better mood than I was this week. This was rough. So Kevin, man, I'm still in your corner. I hope everything works out. I'm still a little taken back by the extent and the planning and just the evilness of some people in this world. Just to see another person just take a fall and for monetary gain. Really? And I hate how I'm going back to Kevin. I'm sorry, but it's my line of work. It's a comedian. I hate how there's been numerous videos, there's pictures, but then there's a video where it's like this text video and it says, Kevin tries to be this good guy, but he's really not. Da, 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 da. I go, look, you're not thinking of Kevin or the kids. Think about the kids. I mean, he's got 2 little kids. Then he's got a baby on the way. You ain't thinking about it. It's just ugly. Just ugly. But somebody asked me, they go, what if that was you and your wife? I said, well, let me tell you this. If my wife was worth as much money as Kevin and there's a sex tape out, I'm going to be embarrassed, but I'm not leaving her. I'm going to be like, babe, 2 guys? Come on. One's enough. And if the paparazzi comes and tries to hem me up, where you going, Gary? Headed to the bank. Just going to the bank. Just taking a look at our assets. That's all. I'm not leaving my wife, though. Not if she's worth over 100 mil, baby. The thing about me is it's disrespectful if it's somebody that to me. If you're going to, cheating is what it is. It happens. It's going to happen again. I'm not saying it's right, but it is. I mean, we're stupid. It's going to happen. Just like there'll be somebody else who get murdered. It'll happen. It's going to happen. My bigger problem when it comes to cheating is 1, it's not the cheating, it's the embarrassment. And 2, it better not be with somebody I know. Like, it better not be if my wife ever messed around with me, it better not be with a homeboy. It better not be with somebody that I know, that my wife, and you did that shit. Oh, that's different. That's some mafia shit. That's some Goodfellas shit right there. Not that I would kill anybody, but I'd hire some black guys to scare them. All right, y'all. Well, this is the end of the 3rd podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you next week. This is Gary Owen. Get some. I'm at Caroline's all weekend, New York City, September 21st to the 24th.